Good evening and welcome to Hungary Report, Station of Public Media and One's foreign language news hour. I'm Csenge Gabriela Ibolya with today's news from Hungary and the Carpathian Basin. Let's begin. In Hungary, infections are currently developing in so-called hotspots, and new patients are typically under the age of 40 returning from abroad. According to an infectologist, János Slavik, therefore the pandemic should now be treated more severely in these hotspots rather than in the entire country. This is why safe distance and disinfection are given at special attention at various events.
70 teams competed in the Debrecen Carnival Cup over the weekend. At one of Central Europe's largest children's football tournaments, there were half as many people than usual. Because of the fewer players, there weren't that many fans either, but they encouraged the kids in crowded rows. The organizers say the competition was organized according to the regulations, but participants also need to take individual responsibility.
Voltak jelentkezők egyébként zöld országból.
There were candidates from countries which were categorized green from an epidemiological point of view as well, but we were hesitant to let them enter, so we said that this year we organized a tournament for Hungarians mainly, the organizers said. Children are playing in small groups at a family picnic in Zichy Park, Székesfehérvár. Here too, people strive to keep a safe distance and for the different activities to be as far away from each other as possible.
Így szabad levegőn, biztonságban érezzük.
We feel safe outdoors, brought disinfectant with us and use it after every activity, this woman explained. The organizers provided disinfectants as well. There is one placed on each table and its regular use is mandatory. Currently in Hungary, there are only a few people getting infected with the coronavirus, and the number of deaths decreased significantly compared to the previous rate. However, experts say the reason for this is that the new cases are mainly active people under the age of 40. They most likely got infected abroad at an event or at an enclosed space where people didn't wear a mask. Infectologist János Slavik said on One that currently infections occur in hotspots. So for now, the coronavirus has to be dealt with more strictly in these hotspots instead of nationwide restrictions. The current regulations would be suitable if the people would follow them, János Slavik pointed out.
Interest in holiday homes for rent has skyrocketed. The increase was particularly spectacular in May and June during the period of easing restrictions, but the trend has continued ever since. László Balog, a real estate expert, spoke to M1 saying there's a clear increase in interest in holiday homes for rent at Lake Balaton, but eager tenants have also appeared at Lake Velence.
This group of friends arrived to Balaton from Budapest. They will be spending 3 days in this apartment. They say they came because peace and family atmosphere is important for them.
Szerintem nagyon sok szép hely van Magyarországon.
I think there are many nice places in Hungary near Balaton, one of them said. The apartment house opened last year. The owner says there is a growing demand for quality services and private accommodations too, and there are more and more people who welcome guests in the pre- and post-season too, not only in the summer high season. This year there is an absolute rush and domestic tourism is boosting too. We are fully booked for the whole summer as well. We only have a couple of days and rooms available, the owner said. The rental for the holiday homes on the northern coast of Balaton during the season was around 250,000 forints. On the south coast, the monthly rental in June and July was about 200,000 forints. Due to the coronavirus, many people chose domestic holiday destinations instead of traveling abroad. This contributed to the additional demand.
Májusban 70%-kal több.
In May, the interest for holiday rentals was 70% higher than last year. The surplus was 50% higher in June as well compared to last year's, László Balog said. According to a survey this year, nearly 60% of holidaymakers chose domestic travels and 50% responded that they postponed their next travel for the end of summer or until fall.
A line of several kilometers was formed on the M1 at Hegyeshalom-Bóra on the exit side. This was mainly due to the fact that more and more Eastern European guest workers are returning to Western Europe after their summer holidays. A few hundred meters from the border crossing point, the Austrian authorities also checked vehicles. Our correspondent on the scene said it is worth avoiding the border crossing at Hegyeshalom. Torrential storms hit several places in the country over the weekend with incredible amounts of rain. Lightning floods were present in Tatabánya, with cars and even the ambulance station being completely flooded. In Bajod, they tried protecting several houses with sandbags, while in Esztergom, huge water ponds developed in the city. Today it rained mainly in the west, and due to the soaked ground, they cannot hold the first race of this year's national gallop in Janesiás either.
Flash floods surged through the streets of downtown Esztergom Saturday afternoon. At places, water levels reached car shafts. The most critical situation was on the main street, as it caused a traffic jam while the water poured into several parking cars on the street. In Tatabánya, almost 25 centimeters of water stood in the Abilene station yard after the rainstorm. The intervention of volunteer firefighters was necessary to help get rid of the water. There were flash floods on the streets, cars moved slow, and people were walking in ankle-deep water. Water levels reached several centimeters high in open areas and parks. Disaster management was alerted because of fallen trees, branches, and flooded basements from where locals were trying to pump out water as well. The rainstorm arrived to Budapest with heavy thunder and a significant amount of rain fell within minutes. The water reached up to car shafts on Váci Street and traffic was slower than usual too. Rain was pouring until the early evening in the capital. And on Sunday, the bad weather continued just like the day before. Storms started early in the afternoon. Water immediately collected on bigger roads, which the passing cars splashed several meters high in the air. Smaller swirls formed at the drains, while traffic formed in many places and pedestrians and cyclists disappeared from the streets too. In Keszhely, rain similar to a flood struck in mid-morning. The flood channels on lower altitude areas completely filled up, but there was a street where the uprising water lifted the lid of the sewer. The accumulated water covered the wheels of cars too, and there were many traffic jams due to the hour-long storm. And this is not a farming land, but the Festetics horse racing field. They were about to organize this year's first national gallop run here, to which a record number of entries have arrived. It has been raining in János-Diaz since the early morning. The contestants and the horses would have been in danger on the muddy ground run. The organizers and hundreds of spectators hoped for the weather to turn for the better till the last minute. In the end, they decided to delay the event by noon.
Rubbish caught fire at a landfill between Híradó and Perkato in Fejér County. A 6-meter-high pile of trash caught fire. Putting out the fire took several hours, and some of the waste had to be dismantled by power machines and transported to gain access to the inner fire part of the pile. The cause of the fire is still being investigated. The largest open-air museum in Hungary, the Skanzen Museum in Szentendre, is located in Pest County. In the 63-hectare area of the museum, the folk architecture, housing, culture, farming and way of life of Hungarian-speaking, Western Hungarian and Transylvanian people come to life. The exhibition is divided into different regions. The permanent outdoor exhibition covers the period from the mid-18th century to the mid-20th century. The Hungarian National Gallery is the largest public collection documenting and presenting Hungarian fine art. The museum in the Budavár Palace ensemble displays the most significant Hungarian works almost from 1,000 years back. From the medieval Gothic wing altars to the great Hungarian painters of the 19th century to the pioneers of modern art, it leads through the history of the Hungarian art decades. The whole family can spend up to a full day in the multi-story building. And that's all for now, but don't forget you can catch Hungary Reports every night after 11 o'clock news and online as always. Do stick around and watch our German, Russian and Chinese language news. Thank you for watching and have a lovely evening.